If you want to be free to serve God, stay single. If you want to become more like God, get married, because marriage is the greatest mirror to your own selfishness. Oh, come on. Hi y'all, what's up? My name is Hillary and welcome back to my channel. I'm just in my room, posted on the floor next to my little monsters. I love these babies. Today, I am just gonna kind of flow, keep it real, and talk about what God has put on my heart. And that is the topic of singleness, okay? I know it's a little played out. We talk about it all of the time. But hey, as a single Christian woman, I do think that it's important to just keep encouraging, not just my ladies out there, but also my fellas, you know, especially if you do desire to be married. So what I really want to touch on, I guess, are some myths surrounding singleness. I don't know how many we're going to do. It's safe and say 3. We'll dispel 3 myths about singleness. There's actually this book I'm currently reading called 7 Myths About Singleness. So I'll link that down below in the description, along with some other books that I highly recommend you read. But before we dive in, make sure that you comment, like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so that you never miss a beat on what's up with me. I love y'all. Let's go ahead and get on in to this impromptu session. All right. Myth number 1. I keep doing this 11 thing. 1. Myth number 1. When you get married, you will feel complete. Oh man, that's such a lie that I think a lot of people, whether they admit it or not, believe. That as a single person, you're incomplete, but as a married person, you are complete. Basically, the assumption that another person has to come into your life before you feel like your life is validated, that it has purpose and meaning. And it shows that there's a part of your heart that's potentially idolizing the idea of marriage rather than understanding the purpose of it. We're human. We're going to desire companionship and relationship, and that's totally okay. I don't in any way want this to come off like I'm saying it's bad if you do, but I definitely want to encourage you not to fall into the trap of believing that marriage will complete you. There's so much beauty in coming together and having a lifelong companion, but there's also so much beauty in having the freedom, the undivided attention as a single individual to just serve the Lord, to just be whoever He wants you to be. And unfortunately, I think that Hollywood, the church, and just culture has placed marriage on such a high pedestal that many of us can easily find ourselves falling into this sense of feeling inferior when we don't have that significant other in our life. Myth number 1. Being married will complete you. No, Christ completes us. We are whole in Him. And as a single person, you have the time, the ability to truly explore that, to grow in that, and build your identity in Christ, not in another person, and the idea of what they can do for you. So yeah, that's myth number 1. Again, I did it again. Myth number 1, not 11, not 1. All right, let's move on to myth number 2. Marriage will make my life so much easier. Okay, let's be real. In the area of sexual obedience, yeah, that'll probably help. But as far as everything else, honey, you are agreeing to spend the rest of your life yoked with another individual who has different opinions, different ideas, different passions, who's just different. Okay, now it's beautiful and it's going to serve its own purpose, but the Apostle Paul is clear. Marriage will come with its own worldly trouble. As a single person, we're going to have some issues, right? We're going to face our own challenges, maybe deal with loneliness, sexual temptation, just like things that you will deal with being on your own, especially as a person who is striving to live for the Lord. But to assume that marriage will just make everything in your life easier, no, if anything, marriage is going to add some complexity to your life. And complexity is not always bad. It's not always, synonymous with difficulty. It's just more complex. Ultimately, I kind of don't know what point I'm trying to make other than marriage is not going to make your life easier. It is not. In some areas it will, but all around, it's not. It's just gonna make it different. So, I think I made my point on that. There was something else I wanted to say. Okay, this other book I read is called Sacred Marriage. Can't remember who it's by. I think it's by some guy named Gary. I will find the information and post it. But Sacred Marriage, there's a salient quote in it where the author is saying that if you want to be free to serve God, stay single. If you want to become more like God, get married, because marriage is the greatest mirror to your own selfishness. Oh, come on. Now, I probably butchered that quote, but that's how I remember it in my head. Okay, marriage, when you are living with another individual, I imagine it is a constant reminder of areas that you need to humble yourself, areas where you should be serving your spouse rather than trying to control your spouse, areas where you need to be submitting to the Lord and asking the Lord to help you understand your partner. It's a constant mirror to areas in you that you need to surrender to God so that God can restore and improve. While you may desire to be married, and while you may have moments where you just dislike singleness, I encourage you not to make the mistake of believing that marriage will suddenly solve all of your problems. If you feel like that is what will fix your problems, take a step back, and I encourage you to pray and ask the Lord to just show you what's in your heart and what fulfillment you're looking for, and to help you find that in Him. Let's move on to myth number 3. Singleness is the time to do anything you want to do. Okay, reason why I consider this to be a myth is that some people take that to such an extreme where because they're single, they just want to live reckless, wild lives, and they don't want to have any boundaries, or they allow themselves to become so self-centered that it actually becomes a hindrance to any potential relationships they may have in the future. There's a tendency when you are alone to only think about you, but as Christians, I do think that our focus, rather than being on self, should be on serving God. And as you serve God, there is something that God will do in you, and there's something that He will help to build in you, and that could, if anything, attract the person for you. Not so much you're trying to do it all, but your focus is on service. Your focus is on pouring out. It's on using that time and that energy to accomplish things, to do things that will make an impact and a difference, not just on you, but on others around you. And whether we're married or whether we're single, we should always have a heart that desires to pour out, that desires to serve, that desires to give. And I do believe that as single Christian men and women, I said men like I'm a man, ain't none of that here. Men and women, that we should definitely make it a priority to use the time that we are single to really see it as a gift and an opportunity to do things for the Lord that maybe we wouldn't be able to do if we were in a married relationship. If there are things that you have that you've wanted to always do, go on a missions trip, start a business, whatever it is that God has put in your heart to do, when you're single, it's the perfect time to do it. Not out of selfish ambition, but out of an understanding that you are in position to do those things. Singleness is really a wonderful opportunity. It's a great gift from God, and it might not be a season. You know, singleness could be something that you live out. And I encourage any of you right now to, number one, always be open with the Lord about your desires, about what you want, because God does care. He does hear. And being transparent with the Lord through this process is very important. But I also encourage you to lay down the idea of marriage as well. Even if you truly desire it, lay it down at the Lord's feet. And ask God to bring you to a place where you are so fulfilled in Him that if you do or don't get married, you will still have that feeling of completion, that feeling of significance. You will have the knowledge and understanding that you are fearfully and wonderfully made, and that God does have a plan and a purpose for your life. and just allow the time that you just have with God to bring you to a place where you're so madly in love with him, where no matter what you're dealing with emotionally, no matter what temptations you're facing, what struggles, you might wish you could go through with another person, know that God, he's truly our refuge. And honestly, I believe that when we lean into singleness and when you allow God to build you up as a person, and you come to a place where you're not looking for a spouse for fulfillment, you're not looking for a spouse to have an easier existence, you're not looking to remain single because you just want to do everything for you, but you're just looking to live for the Lord, that God will bless you in more ways than you probably even imagine. And that might include a spouse. And if it doesn't, you're no less. You will find the strength and the grace to come to a place where that's okay. All that to say, I'm like hitting some real Dr. Seuss rhymes right now, I think. I don't know. I could be wrong, but we'll see on the playback. It was like boom, 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 boom. Okay. I had a lot of coffee today. All that to say, whether you are single, you are dating, you are married, let our hearts always be postured in a place before God where we are willing to go where he wants us to go. We are willing to be who he wants us to be. We are willing to lay down what we want in order to receive all that God has. I love y'all so much. I hope that these 3 myths were dispelled today and that, just a bit of this encouraged you, because truly wherever you're at, when you are where God has you, that's the best place you can be. I love y'all. Thank you for watching this video. If you have some ideas, suggestions, things you would love for me to talk about, please feel free to comment and just let me know. And yeah, love y'all. My monsters say bye-bye. Bye.